Massive immigration winds just dropped in January 2026, and if you're navigating the United States immigration system right now, what I'm about to reveal will absolutely change your perspective on what's possible for your future in America. We're talking about unprecedented developments that are opening doors many people thought were permanently closed, faster processing times that are actually real and measurable, visa bulletin movements that are breaking records, new pathways for students, families, entrepreneurs, and workers. This isn't minor policy adjustment or bureaucratic tweaking. These are fundamental systemic changes that are transforming lives right now. Trust me when I say you cannot afford to miss a single detail of what I'm about to share with you today. So, make sure you're paying attention because this information could be exactly what you and your family have been desperately waiting to hear. Welcome back to my channel, where I bring you the most comprehensive, accurate, and hope-filled immigration news and updates to help you successfully navigate your journey in the United States. January 2026 has kicked off with some absolutely monumental developments in the immigration world, and I've been receiving hundreds of messages from viewers asking me to break down exactly what's happening and what it means for real people pursuing their American dreams. So that's precisely what we're doing today. We're going to walk through every single major victory that immigrants are celebrating right now, and I'm going to explain in clear, practical terms exactly what these changes mean for you, for your family, and for your future in this country. Let me start by saying something important. What we're witnessing right now is genuinely unprecedented. After years of uncertainty and anxiety, after countless challenges and setbacks, after so many families wondering if their dreams would ever materialize, we're finally seeing real, tangible, measurable progress happening across the immigration system. And I'm not exaggerating or engaging in wishful thinking. I'm talking about fundamental changes supported by actual data, documented improvements in processing times, concrete policy shifts, and real stories from real people whose lives are being transformed. Before we dive into the 10 major wins I'm going to share with you today, please take a moment to subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications so you never miss critical immigration updates. Hit that like button right now if you appreciate receiving accurate, hopeful immigration information. And in the comments below, let me know which of these changes will impact you most directly. Your engagement helps this content reach more people who desperately need this information. Now let's explore these 10 game-changing immigration victories together. The first major victory I need to tell you about involves processing times, and I know what you're thinking. We've heard promises about faster processing before, haven't we? But here's what makes this different and why you should pay attention. The actual data that just came out for January 2026 shows that multiple USCIS service centers have reduced their massive backlogs by substantial, measurable margins. We're seeing employment-based green card applications that previously took 18 to 24 months now being processed in under 12 months at certain service centers. Family-based petitions that were stuck in bureaucratic limbo for years are suddenly moving forward at unprecedented speeds. And the most exciting part of this development is that these improvements aren't just happening in one or two isolated categories. We're witnessing processing time reductions across the entire board. What's actually driving this remarkable change? Several critical factors are at play here. First, there has been a significant financial investment in the digitization and modernization of the entire immigration infrastructure. We're talking about sophisticated artificial intelligence systems being deployed to handle routine paperwork and documentation review. Automated verification systems can now flag potential issues early in the application process before they cause major delays. Digital platforms allow applicants to track their cases in real time with actual meaningful transparency instead of generic status updates. Gone are the frustrating days of calling customer service phone numbers dozens of times just to receive a vague, unhelpful automated response. The new tracking systems are providing people with genuinely useful information about where their cases currently stand and what specific next steps are required. But technological advancement isn't the only factor. There has also been a major hiring initiative that brought thousands of new immigration adjudicators and support staff into the system throughout 2025. These aren't just bodies filling seats to meet quotas. We're talking about trained, qualified professionals who thoroughly understand the complexities of immigration law, who can make informed decisions based on legal standards, and who are empowered to move cases forward efficiently. The comprehensive training programs that were implemented throughout 2025 are now paying substantial dividends, and we're seeing the concrete results reflected in these dramatically improved processing times. Now let me talk about the second massive victory, and this development is going to genuinely excite those of you who have been following visa bulletin updates religiously every single month. January 2026 brought some of the most favorable visa bulletin advancements we've seen in years. For those of you who monitor these bulletins closely, you understand that even a few weeks of forward movement can mean the difference between waiting another entire year or finally receiving your green card approval. Well, what we witnessed this month wasn't just a few weeks of incremental movement. In several preference categories, we saw advancements measured in months, and in some remarkable cases, even years of forward progression. The employment-based second preference category, which covers professionals holding advanced degrees, saw significant forward movement that surprised even experienced immigration attorneys. The family-based categories, particularly F2A for spouses and children of lawful permanent residents and F2B for unmarried adult children of permanent residents, also experienced notable progress that will reunite countless families. And here's what's really encouraging about this trend. The official projections for the remainder of 2026 strongly suggest that this positive momentum is going to continue throughout the year. We're not looking at a one-time anomaly or spike that will plateau next month and disappoint everyone. The underlying systemic factors suggest sustained progress throughout the entire calendar year. Why is this happening now after years of stagnation? Part of the explanation comes down to important policy adjustments that have streamlined exactly how visa numbers are allocated and distributed across categories. There has been a deliberate, concerted effort to ensure that available visa numbers don't go completely unused at the end of each fiscal year, which was a persistent and frustrating problem in previous years. The coordination between different government agencies has improved dramatically, which means fewer bureaucratic bottlenecks and more efficient utilization of the immigration resources that are available. Moving to the third major development, and this is something that's going to impact international students and recent graduates in a tremendously positive way. We're seeing expanded opportunities and significantly clearer pathways for international students who want to successfully transition from student status to work authorization and eventually to permanent residency. The optional practical training programs, commonly known as OPT, have been enhanced with new provisions that give students substantially more flexibility and longer timeframes to secure employment in their specific field of study. What's particularly exciting is that certain STEM fields, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, are now eligible for extended work authorization periods well beyond what was previously available. We're talking about cutting-edge industries like artificial intelligence, renewable energy technology, advanced manufacturing, biotechnology, quantum computing, and cybersecurity. The official recognition that America desperately needs to retain top international talent in these critical sectors has translated into concrete policy changes that directly benefit international students who have invested years of their lives studying in American universities. But the improvements extend far beyond just work authorization. There has also been important clarification on the pathways from student status to employment-based green cards, removing ambiguity that previously left students and their sponsoring employers uncertain about proper procedures. The comprehensive guidance that was issued in early January 2026 has removed substantial amounts of the confusion and uncertainty that used to paralyze decision-making. Immigration attorneys across the country are consistently reporting that their clients in student status are now able to plan their long-term futures with much greater confidence than they could even 6 months ago. Here's the fourth victory that I'm genuinely excited to share with you, and this directly affects families who have been painfully separated by immigration status barriers. We're seeing a renewed governmental commitment to family reunification with policies that acknowledge the profound human cost of prolonged family separations. New provisional waiver programs have been introduced that allow certain qualifying family members to remain in the United States while their complex waiver applications are being processed, rather than having to leave the country and risk extended separations with uncertain outcomes. The criteria for evaluating hardship waivers have also been clarified and, in many cases, made more accessible to deserving applicants. Immigration officers are receiving better, more comprehensive training on how to evaluate hardship claims with appropriate consideration for the real-world circumstances that families actually face. This doesn't mean that every single case is automatically approved regardless of merit, but it does mean that deserving cases have a substantially better chance of being adjudicated fairly and with appropriate human discretion. Additionally, there have been meaningful improvements in how consular processing is handled for family-based immigration cases. Wait times for visa interview appointments at many United States consulates and embassies have decreased significantly. The documentation requirements have been standardized in a way that reduces confusion and eliminates unnecessary delays caused by inconsistent requirements. Families are reporting that the entire process from petition approval to final visa issuance is happening in timeframes that would have seemed completely impossible just 1 or 2 years ago. Let's discuss the fifth major victory, which involves protections and benefits for certain vulnerable populations. We're seeing enhanced protections for victims of crimes who are cooperating with law enforcement authorities, expanded eligibility criteria for humanitarian relief programs, and clearer, more accessible pathways for individuals fleeing persecution or violence in their home countries. The asylum system, which has been under tremendous strain for many years, is beginning to function more efficiently thanks to additional resources and improved adjudication processes. What's particularly noteworthy is that these improvements aren't coming at the expense of security or thorough vetting procedures. In fact, the enhanced technology and additional trained staffing mean that cases can be examined more thoroughly while simultaneously being processed more quickly. It's no longer a false choice between speed and thoroughness. The immigration system is finally reaching a point where it can deliver both efficiency and comprehensive review. For entrepreneurs and investors, January 2026 brought some genuinely exciting developments as well. This is our sixth major victory. There's renewed emphasis on attracting global talent and investment capital to American shores, with streamlined processes for certain visa categories that support business development and job creation. The startup visa programs that have been operating in pilot phases are now being expanded and formalized, giving innovative entrepreneurs clearer pathways to building their businesses in the United States. The investment thresholds for certain programs have been adjusted to reflect current economic realities, while still ensuring that the programs serve their intended purpose of spurring economic growth and creating American jobs. Regional centers are reporting dramatically increased interest from qualified investors, and the approval rates for well-documented cases have improved significantly. Now, I want to discuss something that affects absolutely everyone in the immigration system, regardless of their specific category or situation. This is the seventh victory, and it's about transparency and communication. The immigration agencies have made substantial strides in improving how they communicate with applicants, petitioners, and their legal representatives. Gone are the frustrating days when a request for evidence would arrive with vague instructions and unreasonable deadlines. The RFEs being issued now are more specific, more reasonable, and more aligned with the actual requirements of immigration law. The customer service experience has also improved dramatically. While nobody expects perfection from government agencies, the fact that you can now actually reach a live person who can access your case information and provide meaningful updates represents a massive improvement over the frustrating automated systems of the past. Online portals have been upgraded to provide real-time status updates, document upload capabilities, and direct communication channels with adjudicators when appropriate. Let me share the eighth major victory with you, and this involves workplace protections and labor rights for immigrant workers. There has been increased enforcement against employers who exploit immigrant workers through wage theft or unsafe conditions, stronger legal protections against retaliation for workers who report labor violations, and clearer guidance on the fundamental rights that workers have, regardless of their immigration status. This creates a more level playing field and helps prevent the exploitation that can occur when employers think they can mistreat workers with impunity. For those of you on employment-based visas, this also means better protections if you experience layoffs or other employment disruptions. The grace periods for finding new employment have been clarified and in some cases extended. The portability provisions that allow workers to change employers without starting their green card process over from scratch are being applied more consistently and fairly. The ninth victory I want to highlight involves access to education and professional licensing for immigrants and their family members. Several states have moved to allow dossier recipients and other immigrants with work authorization to qualify for professional licenses in fields like healthcare, law, education, and engineering. This opens up career pathways that were previously completely blocked and allows talented individuals to contribute their skills where they're desperately needed. For families with children, there have also been improvements in access to higher education financial aid and in-state tuition rates for students who have grown up in the United States, regardless of their current immigration status. These changes recognize the practical reality that many young people have spent their entire conscious lives in America and deserve the opportunity to reach their full potential. Finally, the 10th major victory that I want to share with you involves community support and available resources. There has been a proliferation of legal aid programs, community organizations, and support networks that are helping immigrants navigate the complex system successfully. Pro bono legal services have expanded significantly. Know Your Rights campaigns have reached more people than ever before. And community leaders are working tirelessly to ensure that immigrants understand both their legal rights and their civic responsibilities. So there you have it, 10 massive victories that January 2026 has brought for immigrants across this country, from faster processing times to clearer pathways, from family reunification to workplace protections, from educational opportunities to community support. We're seeing meaningful progress on multiple fronts simultaneously. Now, before we conclude, I want you to remember something critically important. These victories didn't happen by accident or chance. They happened because people stayed informed and engaged, because communities organized and advocated, because dedicated advocates pushed for change, and because immigrants themselves refused to give up on their dreams despite facing enormous obstacles. And that's exactly why you need to stay connected to this channel. Make absolutely sure you're subscribed. Hit that like button if you found this information valuable and encouraging. Share this video with anyone who needs to hear this positive news. Drop a comment below and let me know which of these 10 victories affects you most directly. I read every single comment, and your stories help me understand what content you need most. Your engagement also helps this video reach more people who desperately need accurate immigration information. Until next time, I'll continue bringing you breaking news and essential updates to help you navigate your immigration journey successfully. Stay informed about the policies that affect your life. Stay hopeful about your future in America, and keep pushing toward your goals with confidence and determination. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.